On today's episode, we're answering the question, no, we're not, because I'm on the wrong damn outline. I think some of the struggle that people have with them is they sound hard. They sound boring. Long form blog content. I have to teach everything. I have to XYZ. And so we think it's so much easier to create a 3-minute video than to create 1,000-word blog post. So why don't I just do that? Plus, and I speak from someone who understands completely, we get that instant dopamine hit when people hit the heart button on our videos, or they comment, or they interact, or we see our view count go up. And that dopamine hit is addictive. Ask me how I know. But the thing is, and I think what a lot of people don't think about is, okay, so I'm on TikTok a lot. It's my zone out method of choice. And sometimes there's a creator on there and I want to learn a little bit more. I want to find out more about them. And the only place that I have to do that is their Instagram, which, by the way, is still more of this short form content. There is no place for me to become immersed. And I think that that's something really important that we're missing. Not everybody's going to want to be immersed, but guess who does want to? Your buyers, your hot prospects, your best leads. They want to be in your world and surrounded by your knowledge, and they want to be immersed in you. And they're going to want to go to your blog for that, or even your YouTube, your longer form content. And, I know I just mentioned YouTube, but I want to put a pin in that for a second and go back to the blog, because I was on TikTok this morning while I was avoiding getting ready for work. And there was a video that showed up on my For You page, and it was a woman and she was crying because she had been on TikTok almost since the beginning, but she had too many community violations. She didn't understand why. And her primary account was permanently banned. And she lost her followers. She lost her content. She lost her history. And judging from the expression on this woman's face, she maybe felt a little bit like she lost her identity because it was so closely tied to a platform that she didn't own. And so if your content strategy is focused only on platforms that you don't own, what are you doing?
I get that, and I get the dopamine hit piece. I'm not as dopamine driven as maybe some people, but I have fallen down.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Yes, I was trying to be nice.
You were. I admit it. I am. I like that, dopamine driven. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not as dopamine driven, and that's cool. But I do love going down the rabbit hole. So if I see something cool, and I was watching a documentary yesterday, and the documentary kept referencing really cool tidbits. So little tidbits about what the documentary about. By the way, the documentary was all about the Bruce Peninsula. It's this really cool place in Ontario where I live. It's very neat. And it kept putting up these really cool little tidbits, like these little factoids. And then I would look up the factoid while I was like checking it out. And then I found somebody's website where they had written all these blogs about their travels of going around this Bruce Peninsula and their camping and family and things of that nature. I was really pulled into the storyline of that content because it created this really neat story. So I think there's a place for blogging. I think there's a place for newslettering. I think that we have to look beyond that dopamine driven idea, and we have to look at the long game. So blogging creates the long game. It's that piece of content that's out there forever and a day that people will find later on. And if you're good at it, then you can make it almost timeless, right? And proper tagging and things like that. Newslettering also has a place. I mean, my partner he's on a newsletter that he religiously checks almost like all the time. And it's a Seth Godin one. And, that's a really cool thing. There's another one called Prof G or Professor Galloway. He has a newsletter, and that thing is really, really cool. So newslettering works for certain things, and I really like that. But the other thing that I think is incredibly important as a content strategy is podcasting. And Allison and I have had this podcast now. We're in season 3. I always think it's season 2. We're developing season 4, and I still think it's season 2. But we're working on this and having this content built out. And at the time of this recording, we have officially done 167 episodes. But if you look at all the extra episodes, because Allison threw us on a content crazy caravan of let's create every piece of content we can in the world with these extra podcast episodes, we're probably closer to like, I don't know, 250, something like that, maybe more. But the effect of creating this content has had a direct and translatable impact on us as business people, business women, as well as on our businesses. So it creates, like, creating content, even for the long game, right? So the podcasting and things like that. It allows people to go back and it creates that credibility. So you can go back and go, oh, this person's been podcasting for X amount of years or has this many episodes. Wow, it creates instant credibility. Or wow, this person's been blogging since 2011 and has, over 1,000 blogs. Wow, create instant credibility. This person has a newsletter, it's been around since 2012 and they've got so many subscribers. Yeah, that's credibility. But the elevation piece with creating content is something that I think is also not talked about enough. I think personally, podcasting and everything else that we've done in terms of content strategy has allowed Allison and I to formulate our opinions and our thoughts on certain topics and areas. It's allowed us to create content that we think matters to our audience, which then translates into people listening, watching, or interacting with that content, and then seeing us the experts in the fields of that, whatever we talked about. For me, it's translated into speaking opportunities. I get asked to be on more speaking opportunities as a result of having the podcast, the blog, and things like that. And I think, and this is my own personal opinion, that it's elevated me as a businesswoman.
Total blooper reel. Did it all come falling down?